I am a big fan of the word no, but it is horribly underused by many of the entrepreneurs and small business owners that I've worked with over the years. And if you've ever said yes to something, then quickly realized that you're overcommitted or it just wasn't really right for you, or you're thinking, oh my God, what am I doing? Why did I pursue this path and not just say no? Then our guest today has got the perfect antidote for what I like to call bright, shiny object addiction. Hi, it's Melanie Benson here. I'm America's leading small business optimizer. And on this podcast, I like to bring you guests that are going to help you learn a strategy, a system, maybe even a way of thinking that will help you replace incremental and maybe even overwhelming growth with strategies that will help you generate exponentially more impact and profits so that you can do more of what you love. And my guest today is Andrea Waltz, who is the co-author of Go for No. Yes is the destination. No is how you get there. And Andrea teaches people how to overcome the fears of failure and rejection with my favorite word, no. So Andrea, I'm so glad you could join us today. And, you shared this book with me a while back, and I thought, wow, what a brilliant book. Because really, this is one of the greatest skills anybody has to master if they want to accomplish and achieve high results.
Well, thanks, Melanie. It's great to be with you. And it's funny that you even mentioned the bright, shiny object syndrome, because I remember learning that from you, actually, specifically a few years ago, actually more years than I care to admit. But no is so powerful. We need to say no more often. And then in business, while we're selling our products and services, we need to go for no. We need to not be afraid, to hear that word no as we're marketing.
Yeah. And, there's so many different ways that no is a useful word for us as entrepreneurs and business owners that I can't wait to dig into this and learn more about it. But first, let's figure out what got you to the place that you wanted to specialize in no's and helping people learn how to use their no to get to the greater yes. I mean, obviously there's a little backstory there somewhere.
Yes, and it is kind of a crazy journey. My husband and business partner, Richard, and I, we met at Lens Crafters. We were working corporate jobs. He really wanted to be an entrepreneur and to go out on his own and share his sales philosophies and customer service strategies and everything that he wanted to do, kind of in the corporate world. He wanted them to implement some of these things, but you know how it is when you're an employee. Sometimes they don't listen to the people who are there. They want to get the outside advice. So he convinces me, we can be those outside people. We can be those people that they're bringing in. So that's exactly what we did. We quit our jobs. We launched our company, doing speaking and training about sales, customer service, management topics. And of everything that we talked about, whether it be, sometimes simple things, complex things, but of everything that we shared, everyone loved the idea of Go for No. They loved the idea that you could be more successful and take rejection, which is such a topic that people hate, and make it empowering and kind of turn it into a positive way of thinking about it. And so eventually, and we dragged our feet way too long on this, I will admit, eventually we said, okay, this is the topic. This is what people want. This is what people are interested in. And so we kind of changed the business about 7 years ago and really just revamped it. And made our very specific niche this idea of Go for No, about helping people overcome their fear of failure and rejection.
I love that. And, fear of rejection is probably what keeps people trapped in their comfort zone more often than not. What is it that, is the advice we need to hear to help us be willing to face the big dreaded no and go for more yeses?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the key too, is to reprogram it and to twist it in your head. Most of us do everything within our power to avoid hearing the word no. So, if you meet somebody, say at a networking event, and you have a great conversation, but then you get home and you're looking at their business card, and you think, oh, wow, I don't really want to call this person. I have a feeling they're just going to tell me no. That story plays out, I think, over and over and over again for all of us, in places all over the country. And yet, so what we say is, but in that moment, you're robbing yourself of the opportunity. You're also robbing the other person of the opportunity to work with you. So it's about taking that fear and saying, you know what, I'm going to go for no. I'm actually going to contact this person. And if they tell me no, I'm actually going to be okay with it. I can celebrate it. And if I do that every day, eventually one of those people is going to say, yeah, I'd like to meet with you. Yes, I'd like to do business with you. Yes, I want to hire you. But the more we avoid those things, that's when we lose opportunity for the yeses. So go for no is all about changing your thought pattern in those moments where you can, where you actually have the opportunity to get a no. We say, do it, try it. And more often than not, Melanie, I can't tell you, people call me, they write me emails and say, I expected I was going to get a no from this person and I ended up getting, a yes. I can't believe it. Well, it works when you work it.
So is it about getting unattached, or is it about depersonalizing the meaning that we give when somebody says no, or they don't make time for us, or, that whole, breakdown around like, oh my gosh, I'm going to feel rejection?
Oh, totally. There is a lot of detachment that has to go on. You have to kind of pull back and not make it personally. You have to detach from the outcome and not feel like, your whole life is riding on whether this person will say yes or no. And what sometimes happens, especially to entrepreneurs, is that they are, because especially if there's a lot of fear going on, this process happens over and over again, and eventually it leads to like big time call reluctance. And so all of this fear builds up, and there's this interpretation that happens that, well, if I get a no, it means I'm going to fail, and it means my business won't succeed. And in the meantime, because they're not going for no, their business is failing and they're not succeeding. So it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that people need to detach from that outcome, and they need to focus on the activity, which is reaching out to people, sending those emails, getting those appointments and making those calls, and actually having some fun with it and celebrating when they make the activity or taking the action, not celebrating the result.
So it's almost like, and maybe this is the way I look at it, I don't know if this is the way you look at it, it's almost like you have to be more committed to the possible outcome for that person that's positive than the fear you have of being rejected. So I always look at, if I'm worried about what somebody's going to say, or if they're going to reject it, or, they're going to turn down, the opportunity to work with me, I always look at like, look, I have to be more committed to their breakthrough and their transformation than they are. And if you are, I always feel like you're bought into the possibility more than you are the fear.
I love that. That is so well said, and you're absolutely right. And you've got to tap into that, just like you said. That is so perfect. And I think too many times you're really taking it and making it about the other person, which is a great kind of go-giver, strategy. To use Bob Burke's phrase, to really think about the other person and to say, it is not all about me, and to focus on kind of the mission and the service you bring, and to let on the most transactional of things, whether, some people are selling in-depth, long-term contracts and different things. Some people might be selling, a pair of socks at a retail store. Even the most basic transactional item is let that person decide. You don't make the decision for them.
Yeah. And you just hit the nail on the head. So many people make the decision for their prospect based on their own belief systems and perceived limitations. And the minute we project our own issues onto our prospect, we've lost the deal, because we're going to treat them in the way our own mind works, rather than giving them every possible opportunity to say yes.
Oh, absolutely. We do that with, we do that with prospecting and making the appointment with the person. I hear people talk about projects that they want to do, and they don't want to necessarily call, some big speaker or author to get their help and get them involved, because they assume they'll say no. The irony is, a lot of times the big fish out there don't get a lot of calls because people are too afraid to contact them, it's kind of funny.
To me, that's where social media comes in handy. It's
oh yeah.
It's a little bit like, you're not putting yourself completely out there, but social media, it's so easy to access any caliber of person anymore that it eliminates a lot of those fear restraints from my point of view, at least. And I have people
Yes.
approach me all the time on social media for the craziest things. And I'm like, oh, well, we've really, eliminated a lot of barriers to access there.
That is true. That is true. You'd be surprised, though, what I hear about people still with fear of social media and fear of even sending emails sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah.
Is there any particular technique that you want to share with us from the book about how you help people be able to be more confident with that, I don't know, I guess that process of approaching people?
I think the most fun thing is we challenge people to set a no goal. So, it could be tomorrow after you've watched this and you wake up in the morning and you say, okay, instead of just focusing on the yes goal of getting, one yes that day or 5 yeses that day, set a goal for the number of no's you're going to hear. So challenge yourself to go after the big contacts maybe that you haven't wanted to contact, follow up with the person that you've been dragging your feet on, who you've assumed is going to say no. Set a no goal. And again, it doesn't have to be, I'm going to get 100 no's in one day, like some people we have who get really enthusiastic, but that can be a detriment too because you can make yourself crazy. So, have a no goal of say 1 no or 2 no's that day, and then get into activity. And when you get those no's, celebrate. And that kind of, I think, flips the switch for people when they celebrate. Instead of berating yourself and saying, oh my gosh, I'm not good at this, or I what am I doing, blah, 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 all the things that you kind of tell yourself in your head, it's celebrate and say, wow, I got a no, I survived, my confidence is growing. And then after time, you see that, it's really not that big a deal. And then that behavior can continue, and then your business will grow because you've given yourself a chance to get those yeses. You're giving yourself a chance to take those seeds that you're planting and then, harvest those seeds eventually.
Yeah. And, I think, again, it's just about what do we make a no mean? And what you're saying
Absolutely.
is to give it a positive quality, which is that you should celebrate it because it means you're getting closer to a yes versus feeling like it's a failure of some kind. And again, the thoughts that we think and what we make up about every single thing that comes at us in business and in life, it will either set you up to be expansive and energized, or it'll deflate you. So why not make a no mean something positive that it's moving you towards where you want to be?
Absolutely. You're right. Love the expansive idea.
Yeah. So, Andrea, would it be okay if we kind of pull the curtains back on what it's like to be a speaker and an author and a trainer and building a business on something, that obviously you put a lot of thought into in terms of how you're going to serve and find a way to be the go-to experts?
Absolutely.
What would you say has been one of the biggest challenges building this kind of business?
Oh, wow. Well, there's a couple different challenges. I think it's, everybody probably goes through this challenge, so I don't know if it's specific to our business, but for Richard and I, it took a long time for us to finally come to grips with and focus on doing the things that we both like to do and that we're good at. And, I know you talk about this too, and shame on me for not listening and paying closer attention to you earlier.
It's not too late.
It's not too late, yeah. But, I think sometimes you think, well, I can do this. It's fast. It's easy. It's no big deal. So rather than delegate, even though I might not necessarily be good at it, and Lord knows I hate doing it. And so I think for a few years, we kind of stuck ourselves with some things that we, just shouldn't be doing. And today in our business, and it's really freed us up to do some great things, is just outsourcing and getting everything that, and sometimes even things that we like to do, but we're still not good at it, get those things off the plate and really just focus on the things we are really good at and like to do. Kind of that sweet spot, and get rid of everything else. And we're finally there in our business today, which is great.
Cool. Yeah, being in that sweet spot makes a huge difference, especially with partnerships, especially when you're married to your partner. I think there's so many dynamics at play, and finding the things that you're each good at and that make you feel excited, and then recognizing where there's overlap and where you need to hold your own space, but also really just for any entrepreneur, really owning what are you good at, what is the sweet spot, and being willing to let go of the rest or find another way to get there.
Yes, absolutely. And giving up control was another big thing for the two of us as a partnership was, understanding that at one point, I think I remember writing a letter, crafting a letter and saying, Richard, read this and tell me what you think. And he, made a bunch of changes. And then after a while, we both realized that his changes weren't necessarily better. They were just different. So, okay, no more micromanaging that process, just read it for clarity. Don't make any change unless you really think that it's making it better, just not, oh, well, I would have said it this way.
Right. Oh, that's a good insight, because obviously if it's not effort that creates a greater impact, it's wasted effort.
Exactly.
Has there been a really significant turning point in the business where you learned something, or you implemented, or you optimized maybe a part of your business, and you just realized, wow, okay, I wish we would have done that sooner because it made such a huge difference?
Yeah, I think, again, Melanie, it goes to outsourcing, and we hired when we got to Florida about 3 years ago. We were in the Pacific Northwest, and we came to Florida, and one of the first things we did was we decided, and certainly you can have a virtual assistants are great. We have an in-person assistant a few days a week. That was a huge help, and outsourcing video work and outsourcing, as I said, again, everything that we're not good at. That was a big turning point for us in our business. It, again, freed us up to do all of the things that we want to do. And I hear people talk about how, if your productive hour, if you can have a productive hour, then it shouldn't be spent, say, cleaning your house, which could be done by someone else. I kind of feel like this is the same idea. It's, get someone else to kind of help you do all of those little tasks that just kind of suck up your whole day. And so that's been a real turning point. I think the other turning point too, and this happened much earlier on, was, and something that Richard and I were luckily really good at, and that was asking the question, who is our customer, and really understanding kind of our customer avatar. Who is that customer? What are they looking for? How can we take our message and help them and provide it in ways that people can, digest it and learn from it. That was kind of a huge turning point, that whole idea of really understanding who our customer is, rather than just focusing on what we do and what we, the problem that we solve, just saying, okay, who's the person, and going at the marketing from that perspective.
That is so key. I'm really glad. I don't think anybody on the show has brought that one up yet. And it was a real pivot point for me to realize, like, my customer avatar isn't all entrepreneurs or even all information marketers. It was really a much more rich definition of the person who I would best work with, and how deeply you understand and how capable you are of crafting your message to really meet that person exactly where they are will make such a difference in how well your marketing performs for you. It's actually one of the things I do when I'm helping people address the bottlenecks in their growth is assess, do they understand their avatar, and is their marketing is it really talking to the right, person there? Right. What happened for you when you did that process? Did you notice a shift in the results for the business?
Oh, definitely. I think we were just able to kind of explain and focus better what we did, so that people, like, for example, who came to the website just quickly got what it is that we do and how we solve the problem and all of the different things that we offer. Definitely. And it made it better for us to understand it as well, to kind of understand our focus.
Sure. And I know for me, one of the things that really happened was I stopped wasting a lot of time on marketing efforts or marketing to pools of people. They didn't make any sense. I'm like, why are we marketing those people? They're not our target audience. They're not even capable of buying, or I don't really see that there's a long-term relationship to be had there. It makes you more effective when you go through that exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that you share that. That's so great. So who is your avatar? Like, who would you say is your most ideal client around the go for no process?
Oh yeah. Our avatar is usually a well, I could get really specific because we've kind of crafted the like really specific type of avatar. But in general, a small business owner who may have a team of 2 to 10 people, usually a direct seller or a wholesaler, a manufacturer type business, who has people on their team who have problems overcoming fear of, failure and rejection, who have to either deal with incoming calls or kind of outgoing prospects. That's really our avatar.
Yeah, I know most of the salespeople I've worked with at some point in time and entrepreneurs who really resist sales could definitely benefit from the book because I know a lot of people have made the selling process something that feels slimy to them. And yeah, so when you can really embrace that you're giving people an opportunity to invest in something that has value for them, it really transforms the whole process for them. Instead of feeling like, ew, I have to, I don't want to do that. It's like, oh, I can't wait to do it.
Exactly. It's funny that you'd say that because that's one of the things I talk about a lot is you don't have to be one of those slimy salespeople that you fear because that's the go for yes type salesperson that pressures you. I mean, ultimately, no is a perfectly acceptable answer. And if it's not a good fit and if it's just a no, that's fine. And how you react to that and how you help that person come to that decision may lead to future business with people that person knows. So it's all about handling that no in the right way.
So how important do you think a strong mindset is in order to be successful?
Oh, I think it's so important. And you know what, Melanie, is every single person out there has their down days, my mindset is one of a turtle. I always joke with Richard. I always say, he's the hare of the two of us. He's kind of the visionary who runs around, way ahead of me. I'm the slow turtle. I put my head down. I do the work step by step, persistence. And that's really been my mindset is I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to do this. So it's not a matter of, I understand that people love speed and speed is good. And sometimes you have to have, a breakthrough because there's that, that bottleneck. But eventually you just have to put your head down and do the work.
Yeah. Speed has its place, but speed is not necessarily always valuable to get results. So sometimes speed makes more breakdowns than it creates results. So
yes. So
do you have a favorite mantra or quote that keeps you inspired?
I do. And I have to read it to you here. And this kind of goes to what I was talking about. Persistence is the twin sister of excellence. One is a matter of quality, the other a matter of time.
Love it. What does that mean to you?
Well, the reality is that I think everybody can be excellent. And yet I think sometimes people, they insist on having that excellence happen in a short period of time frame. But excellence really takes commitment. It takes persistence and dedication, and everything takes longer than you want. It's like every project I've ever done, every book we've written, every client I've gotten. I got a client that took me 6 years to get. It always takes longer than you want it to. So you have to stick with it and understand that excellence is not just about quality; it's about sticking with it and staying persistent.
Yeah, well said. I love that. And I agree. Excellence is not something that happens overnight for many people. So
yes.
So what's next for the Go for No people? What are you guys, what are you excited about on the horizon?
Well, we've got basically our goal to sell 1 million copies is still out there. This is a perfect example of persistence. I have a goal to sell 1 million copies of Go for No. We're at about 300,000 copies right now. So I have a long way to go. So it's not a matter of when will I hit it. It's a matter of I will hit it. It's just going to take some time. And the other thing that we're doing, which is way off on the deep end, and I've got all kinds of stuff on the back walls here, is we are writing a paranormal suspense series with a message. Now, Go for No is a business book. It's a fable, it's a parable with lots of business lessons. Our series is fictional, but there is an underlying life is precious, make every moment matter embedded in a fictional story. So that is, again, it's way out there, but we're having a lot of fun with it.
That's beautiful. Well, good. You guys are definitely getting the multiple book for entrepreneurs and speakers down. That's good.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, good. So, Andrea, let's remind everybody where they can get the Go for No book.
GoForNo.com or on Amazon.
Yeah. And let's say somebody wanted to buy a whole bunch of them for their team or for clients or for an event they were going to host. Would they need to contact you? Do you have like bulk deals that you do for people?
Definitely bulk deals, and they should contact us at Go for No.
Great.
Just GoForNo.com, and we've got videos and all kinds of stuff people can watch and engage in for free, just to kind of learn the message and study the concept.
Beautiful. Well, I would love to hear, as a listener on today's show, where is a place that you need to go for now? Have you been maybe holding yourself back because you're afraid of the answer you're going to get? You've been worried about getting rejected. Is there a place that you want to go for no? If you listen in on iTunes or Stitcher Radio, come on over to the show page at melaniebensonstrick.com. Just head on to our blog there and tell us, where is a place that you are going to go for no? I'd love to hear your story. I'd love to hear what you're going to go for, and I'm sure Andrea would too. And as always, we love having you here on Small Business Optimizer Show. And come back next week for another really powerful guest. Andrea, thanks so much for being here today, and thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Melanie.